Welcome to another episode of the Helpside Basketball Show. Today we have an amazing guest, special guest from Ottawa, born and raised. Been trying to actually get you for a while. You've been on the list for a long time. His name is Marial Shayok, and we're super excited to have him in the booth. Marial, what's up? How's it going?
What's up, my man? Thanks for having me, man. Excited to do this, to talk to you, man, and talk hoops and talk Ottawa basketball.
That's cool. That's cool. So your dad and I go way back. But before we get into all that, I just want to get into what you got going on. Just how it started. And a lot of high level hoopers don't come from basketball families, but you basically hit the basketball jackpot when you were born. Your dad was an Ottawa legend, McCore. He played at Dayton in the 1990s. Your older brother and your older sister played D1. What was it like growing up in a basketball family like you have? And did you always know that you would become a basketball player?
Yeah, it was great. My brother and my sister played. My daddy played as well, like you said, and so I just got to follow their footsteps, got to learn from just their experiences. It just made my route a lot more like smoother
Hmm.
than theirs, just because I was able to have those experiences, that knowledge from them, and
Hmm.
just we have to learn a lot from them, competing against my sister and my brother. I got to
Hmm.
mold my game, and it just made me the basketball player I am today.
And obviously, you pulled from their knowledge. They've basically paved the path for you to make it smooth, as you said. Was it a lot of battles at the park, in the gym? Did you take a lot of bumps and bruises growing up?
For sure, I never beat my sister one on one in my life. By the time, by the time I probably could, no, she just wasn't playing no more. But um, yes, I remember losing to her a lot. My brother, I remember losing to him a lot growing up. But the age difference, I was playing amongst my friends, you know what I mean? So, but no, it was good, man. It was good playing
Hmm.
against my brother and sister for sure.
Hmm. And so you played your high school ball at St. Pat's in Ottawa, and then you went to Blair Academy, New Jersey, for your final 2 seasons of high school. What was the rationale behind leaving Ottawa? Did you feel that you needed a tougher challenge? Did you kind of outgrow your environment? Like what was it like? What sparked that move?
It was just a time, especially that era. Like at the time, it was harder to get real high level D1 looks while staying and going to school in Ottawa, just because they're not in our backyard. They're not seeing our games. And I
Hmm.
was already playing like Team Canada at the time, and I was playing AU in the States, but I wasn't able to get the eyes like those type of eyes on me consistently. So that was just the main motivation. Then also just playing, stronger competition. Obviously in the States, is just bigger, better players at that age, as a collective, you know what I mean? So I was able to compete against guys that improved my game for sure. So it was a
Hmm.
good experience for me.
Hmm. And you ended up having 2 solid years at Blair Academy, and you made your name for yourself, being named New Jersey Prep Player of the Year in your senior year. What was your recruiting process like in terms of your offers and visits?
And then I had a lot of offers for like a good 2, 3 years of my high school career.
Hmm.
I had a lot of Big East offers, so a lot of ACC offers, and I ultimately actually committed to Marquette. So I
Yeah.
signed to Marquette. And I was planning on going there up until March of my senior year. Is when
Hmm.
Coach Buzz Williams left Marquette to go to Virginia Tech, so I opened up my recruitment again, and
Hmm.
I already had went to Virginia and as a visit. I
Hmm.
really liked it, but wanted to go to Marquette obviously, and then once it opened up, Virginia was a school I wanted to go to just because they just had great success. They were in the Sweet 16,
Hmm.
and just the recruitment the chemistry they shared, especially on my visit, it just
Hmm.
felt like it was the place to be.
Hmm. And did your family have a lot to do with the decision of finally choosing Virginia, or did you kind of go dolo and just said, you know what, I have a good vibe here, I'm going to do it, or did you consult a lot with your family?
Yeah, I always like to consult my family just because they play basketball to experience their own experiences. So I just like to gain all that knowledge, and ultimately I make a decision
Mhm.
that I feel what's best for me. But I definitely consult them even to this day. I consult them. But yeah, no, they're a part of the process. My dad had went to Virginia, so it just felt comfortable. Like I already had been there.
Right.
So I didn't really have to like truly have a new recruiting experience once I opened it up.
Mhm. And so you ultimately chose Virginia. What was your takeaway from your Virginia experience? Did you feel fully prepared after you left Blair for the D1 experience? Like just in terms of your body, your mentality, your work ethic, academically, like did you feel that you were absolutely prepared for D1 life?
For sure. I mean, living in Blair, I mean, it's a high level prep school. Academics wise, I definitely got a lot from that. I learned how to just manage my time. I just matured out there. And I was able to transition to university just a lot smoother than I would if I just would have left straight from Canada. Um,
Mhm,
but basketball wise, I was definitely prepared. I've always felt, like capable on the court.
mhm,
And it showed. I played a lot my freshman year. We actually didn't lose our first game up until like the end of January. So we were like number two in the country throughout the whole season.
mhm,
We got upset, but it was overall a pretty good freshman year for me.
mhm.
So I definitely felt prepared.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at your numbers from your first, second, and third year, like you actually played games. Like I think you end up playing 34, like almost all the games. So
Yeah,
you got in quite a bit as a newcomer to and second year and third year. Like, did you did you feel that you were making your mark at Virginia to warrant all those minutes?
oh, for sure. Because Virginia is it's a different type of style of basketball. Just because if you look at the numbers, you'll see that like not really anyone is really getting off just because they score, especially at that time, such a low amount of points of the team.
Mhm.
My freshman year, we had a 35-second shot clock, and most of the time we weren't shooting until under 10. You know what I
Wow.
mean? It's like we'd have scores when it was like 55 to 25. So if you look at the box score, like someone might have like 10 points felt like 20 in Virginia. You know what I mean? Like seriously though, seriously, if you know, you know. You know what I mean? But like Virginia had that type of style. We were really known for our defense, you know what I mean, and
Mhm,
winding the game down, slowing the game down, and just outlasting the opponent. So like as far as like making my mark, like I feel like I did what I could. Like I had solid seasons out there. I just
mhm.
didn't think um I could truly I could truly reach my full potential just in that style of basketball because I'm a lot more free flowing, offensive minded type of player.
Mhm. And then I remember watching you at Virginia and then watching you at Iowa State. You looked way more aggressive, more confident, more deliberate in everything that you were doing. So you went from averaging 8 points a game, which you said, felt like 30.
Probably about, that's probably
Uh,
about 16. That's a good 16.
yeah, and then from 8 points a game at Virginia to 18 points a game at Iowa State. What changed in your approach to the game, in that 1 year?
Um, it's sunset. I mean, I would say the system changed honestly for me because I obviously improved. I had a year off, so I really got in the gym and got locked in on my body, my mental, how I was going to approach this next season. It was all intentional. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm,
knew even choosing the school when I knew I was transferring because like one of my last games at Virginia was a tournament game. At that time, the vibes were like I'm leaving just because like I needed new change of scenery. But
mhm,
obviously, I'm coming. I gotta still perform and play and do my part. But I could see like it was a mutual thing a little bit that was about to happen. But in the tournament, like anything goes. We were in the tournament. I don't even think I was. I don't even think I was starting or in the rotation for real at that
mhm,
time. But threw me in. I had like my career high. I was like 20 something at that time.
right,
Um, and then I was able to like my recruitment really picked up just because I was able to showcase what I could do
mhm,
given that opportunity, you know what I mean? So my recruitment was pretty like direct about what system will I be able to choose that's going to fit this style of play. At Iowa State is where I landed at. So once I got there, I was on a mission to really like 'cause even when I was recruited there, my Coach Chrome, had told me, and we had the understanding that as long as I'm, in the gym working and, doing what I can to showcase my skills, I'm able to
Mhm,
play that same way. You know what I mean? And I just lived in the gym, locked in, and by the time I was able to get on the court, I just, let it all out there and performed.
mhm. So, it's safe to say that your mentality changed?
For sure, for sure. But like kind of sort of, I've always been on top mode. I always obviously, gave my best effort and trying to, do what I can. I
Mhm,
don't know. I'm not really sure if my mentality changed. I just was able to, showcase it in a way,
mhm.
you know what I mean, perform better.
Right, and so, it's not back then, you had to sit out a year, and so you took that basically a long off season to really, like, to develop, like, did you work on specific things? Did you know that, "Okay, I'm going into a new situation, I gotta have this really, really sharp or sharper than it was before?" Like, what was that process like sitting there stewing and waiting for a whole year? Because it's not like now where you just transfer and you can play right away. Like,
Right.
describe that process.
It was necessary. I'm glad I got to sit out just because I was able to take my time and really lock in on, getting stronger, just getting better. And when I say getting better, I always naturally want to improve in every area. If I have a weakness, I want to improve in it. I feel like I have a versatile score. I could score in 3 different ways. So just
Mhm,
improving that. And a lot of that was, again, approach. Like, how am I going to get my rhythm and how I'm going to approach each game the following year. And I was already doing that in practice, so I treated all those practice days when I was sitting out like a game.
mhm,
I really had to unlearn certain habits because again, like the system was super slow. And then Iowa State was super fast, so really taking the best shot available. Um,
right,
and if that was the case for me, then I wanted to make any shot I took, but pretty much the best shot available and be able to shoot at a high level. You know what I mean? So if we're
mhm.
going to transition three, I want to be able to pull up and shoot it with confidence because coach sees I'm working on it every day and I'm shooting at a high level and I'm making it and I'm shooting it, with confidence. So I was able to do that, at Iowa State for sure.
And so, coming off a really, really good, Iowa State campaign, multiple awards, finishing up the process of the NBA draft. Most players, they, you know, their dream is to play in the NBA. What was the goal? Like, was that an original goal that you had, in your basketball journey? And if so, at what point did you realize that it's actually gonna happen?
For sure. Once I decided to play basketball, that was the main goal. And never wavered. Even in my time in Virginia, I've always had um like delusional belief, you know what I mean, that it was gonna
Mhm,
happen. And you know what I mean? Like I kind of just as far as like when I knew it was gonna happen, I get it. Again, I felt like I knew it was gonna happen when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
mhm,
It just
mhm,
felt like that was meant for me. And I worked towards that. Everything I did, pretty much
mhm.
since I was a kid, was towards that direction. So I just really just claimed it.
And then the whole process of being drafted. Describe that. You finally achieve a goal that you set out, and, like, the feeling of them calling your name, what was that like?
It was great because I was surrounded by my closest friends and family. They know I've wanted that to hear that since they've known me. You know what I mean? So like just to be surrounded by them, I know it takes a village, so it was just great for all of us. And it was a special experience for sure.
Mhm. And so you're now entering your 8th year as a professional, is that correct?
Yes,
And so you've played all over the world, I can't even list the countries. You've gained tons of experiences that you can now share with the next generation. Was that the impetus of starting the Shayok Family Foundation and Shayok Next Wave and all the other things that you're doing to help and give back to the kids?
for sure. So like once I got my career established and settled, I definitely wanted my intention was to give back to the next generation. Um, and when I'd come back, I'd see a few young and be in the gym, and I could just use some guidance. You know what I mean? And I noticed, as living in the states as long as I have, that's a lot of that's the difference. They have access to current pros and past pros that have
Mhm.
done it before and are able to touch them and give them the knowledge. And if you could see it, then it's just chances are you could achieve it. You know what I mean? So being able to be able in the same gym and understand that I was that same kid. I grew up in South Ottawa in those same type of neighborhoods, went to those same type
Mhm.
of schools.
Mhm.
But locked in and was able to, make something happen for myself. To let them understand and know that it's not, it's possible. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there's actually ways to go about it that's gonna give themselves the best chance to, what I mean, make the most out of themselves, especially pursuing basketball.
That's like and that's amazing, and, I mean, witnessing it firsthand from, watching you run around, Frank Street, being a kid, watching you go from there to where you are now in terms of your ability to give back, going to your Shayok showcase last weekend was, I was able to go and see that, in its full capacity. Describe that the reasoning behind, you kind of mentioned it, that giving back, but describe the reason why you've done the showcase itself, because there's a lot of kids that are sitting around looking at you and saying, "Wow, I want to be the next Mario." But the fact that you're putting that showcase on right here in the city that you grew up, having, outside coaches come in, scouts come in, having it at your alma mater is just special. Describe that whole kind of platform that you've, created.
Well, initial intention what happened like back when 4 years ago, when I was recovering from like a surgery. You know what I mean? So I was going to be in the city longer than I usually am in the summer.
Mhm,
Just being around the city, I got to see some of the cross paths with some of the youngins, and I'd see it be the same type of thing. Like they have to leave the country or leave the city to go to a tournament to get a look. A
mhm,
lot of times, like those tournaments don't even end up being a tournament where that could even happen. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like so, I wanted to really just be able to have these kids stay here in their backyard and compete against the players they compete against every day, but with
mhm,
eyes of coaches from Canada and the States. And so we were able to get guys got two offers last year. This year, guys got a lot of different type of interest and attention and eyes on them. And
mhm,
then um, aside from that, it's just the knowledge these kids are going to gain. Be able to get some different pros, ex youth sports guys, ex current coaches talk to these guys and give
mhm,
these guys knowledge. And I mean, I feel like that's the difference. That's gonna give these kids, allow these kids to maybe dismiss them or miss a mistake just because they're able to get this knowledge from people who've done it before. And I think Ottawa needs more of that. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Guys that have already experienced these things that these kids are trying to do. I think it's on us to, give these guys some knowledge so they're able to, you know what I mean? Make things happen for themselves, and then hopefully they do it for the next generation as well.
Mhm.
I think that's how good as we're gonna get out of the basketball to really take that next step to where you look at the NBA finals and it's not just Montreal players and Toronto players, you know what I mean? Like I think that's what's gonna be the difference.
And I mentioned earlier your dad, McClure.
Or
He was the one that actually welcomed me into the city, low
yeah.
key. I mean, I went to Frank Street and, my wife said I asked my wife, "Where do they hoop here?" Because 'cause I'm from Toronto, and he said, "Well, I know
Yeah.
on Sundays they hoop down at Frank Street." So I went down there, I didn't know too many people, but,
Too many
I
people,
knew
but
some guys from youth sport competition, like, Bobby Brown I knew was in the city, and, Clarence Porter was in the city, and
the
Dave Reed
city.
was in the city.
Dave Reed was in the
But
city.
then
But
drove to the court,
drove to the court and
and your dad was the first person that I saw. And I was like, "Who's this tall dude?" Like, you know, he's, like, right next to the rim. It's, like, unfair. Rims are kinda
unfair.
lowish.
It's kind of lowish.
So but then, I got a game and I started hooping, and
Started hooping
immediately
and
they're like,
immediately
"Yo, what the hell? Like, where are you from?" Like, and they're like, "Oh, that's
like,
Merrick."
oh, that's
And all of
Merrick.
a sudden, it was
And
like
all
a
of a sudden it
family.
was like a family.
So, I really attribute that welcome, that big welcome to your dad. So, he's obviously a D1 dude, but he's like, I see him as a local legend,
Collection.
and I think you're walking in the same path as him. I mean, you're doing it crazy, crazy big, and a lot of times we don't get to big up our the people who are doing it for real from the grassroots. So I want to take this opportunity to give you your flowers, man, because I see you hooping and grinding in even in my space and you bring in some young guys to compete with you and train with you. And for me, I think that's amazing for a kid that's trying to get to where you're at to be able to train with you. I don't know if they understand what type of opportunity that is, but I am so glad that you're doing that on a regular basis, and I thank you. For them, I thank you. Even if they don't thank you enough, I'm gonna thank you again. So please keep doing what you're doing, Mario, man. I respect what you're doing. I love everything about it, and keep building. Keep building, because the next generation needs you bad. Like, we gotta protect you at all costs, fam.
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. You know, you're obviously one of the first people I talked to before I even started this whole thing, and gained knowledge from. So I'm pretty much doing exactly what you did for me in that space. So I'm grateful for that, and no, thank you for those words for sure.
Cool. So listen, I know you're gonna be gone in a short time, so if I don't see you, all the best, but hopefully I will. But thanks for taking the time this morning.
I appreciate you, my man. It was fun.
All right,
Thank you so much.
no
All right, take
worries.
it.
Okay, cool.